Well, it killed her instantly. The last thing that I remember was a scream. I think it was probably both of our scream. And then I found myself in a cave. Now, many people who've had near-death experiences go through a tunnel. I went through a cave that was, in fact, also a tunnel because I could see the light dimly coming in from both sides. But it had rocks and it had moss. It was a cave. And I was there with my friend Robin. There was also a presence in the cave with us, which I'm going to describe as a guide, if you will, a form of God. It did, in fact, it was very ethereal and shadowy. It wasn't like a full person, but it did present to me somewhat like a man, but I think that's largely irrelevant. We see the symbols, as I've learned, in what we feel familiar with. And that guide felt very peaceful, very loving. I trusted him. And he was sharing with both Robin and I about what was about to happen to us. What he told us, and not in words, but we could both hear ethereally what he was sharing telepathically, was that we were going to go somewhere very far away and very high up. It's very blissful. We were going to be extremely happy there. And nothing in our life experience could prepare us for the magnitude of the joy that would meet us where we were. But that one of us was going to have to come down. Now, I don't know if it was that only one of us had the strength to make that journey or what, but I remember wishing it was me, realizing it meant living. Didn't know where we were going, but I knew I wanted to be here. And then I felt really guilty. What made me more deserving than my friend? She was younger than I was. Clearly, I wasn't old at 31, but she was 28. She was a joyous human being, full of life and love, and really made a difference in the world. And as soon as I had that thought, I felt guilty. What made me more deserving than my friend? But really, all of that became irrelevant because suddenly we found ourselves lifted. Like the cave turned and it was like suddenly at a vertical. And we were like, zoom, like a vacuum cleaner, lifted up into the sky, very far away, like with a swoosh. And then we found ourselves, both Robin and I, or what had been us, in the light. I call it the light. It was soft, white light, pure, perfect temperature, water, air. Everything was part of everything. Everything was flowing around, between. We were immersed in this light and in this love. It was a very loving, loving light. Now, I didn't have a body, nor did Robin. I had no memory up there of life, and there was no sense of time. I have no idea how much, quote, time I spent up there, although it could have been minutes or hours. Going back to being in the light with Robin, the only thing that I felt distinct, because like I say, everything was part of everything. It was just pure love, pure light. What I would probably describe to the listeners here today as like a nirvana state, or a being in the womb, just complete peace, complete love, total presence and oneness and peace of mind. No memory, no pain. Pain that we have in life, both physical and emotional, was all gone. And the only thing that felt distinct was the energy that had been my friend Robin and my energy. I could feel a swirl between us. I could feel the particularity of what had been Robin. And I could feel her peace. I'm so grateful for that. I was later able to tell her mother, my last memory of her was total peace and total happiness. At any rate, I have no idea, as I shared before, how long I was there, and time is very different. Maybe there is no time. But then the next memory that I had was being in horrific pain, not being able to move, a very bright, painful light that did not feel at all like the white light that I had experienced. And I know that as much as I do love life, it can be extremely painful, and I experience that pain, as I know many of you do. And knowing that at the end, I go to a place of light, of love, of pure connection, means a lot. I have no fear of that. And I encourage those that are listening who are either dealing with their own mortality issues or who know loved ones who are going through this to know that they are or will be in peace. That I am sure of, and I am sure of life itself, because there is only love. And many people go through what's called a kind of I forget what you call it now, but basically where they go through a screening of the things, the people they may have heard in their life, a life review. I didn't really have that, except for that little bit of guilt I felt for wanting to live. But if I had had any idea where I was going, I would have never wanted to come down. But whether I made a choice or whether that choice was already preordained, I don't know. I just know that for me and for those around me, I just encourage you to know there will be peace, there will be love. We don't sink into a dark hole of nothingness. And hang in there. I come from a Jewish background. I'm not a very religious person, but I definitely, since this experience, believe deeply in God, but a God of love, not a God that's going to judge or is going to, I don't believe we go to hell, but we could struggle to go to the light if we have unresolved issues. So that's my message to you today. I hope it's helpful. And let's try to live as close to the light as we can while we're in this realm, and welcome our time when it does come. Thank you.